I see dead people.
Here's Johnny.
Stop.
We have such sights to show you.
Bring the motherfucking ruckus. Fuck you too.
I need to start recording before we get into it. I already said it. The implication here. The implication. It precedes itself.
Yeah, I know. Do I need to be recording locally, or you're?
No. I got everything.
Yeah,
I'm doing. I actually have a new studio set up, so
Thick.
I have like a dual monitor thing with a horizontal and a vertical, and I have OBS on one of them and my material on the other. So it's
Look
fun.
At this guy.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited about it. It took me 6 months to get to this stage.
Dude, I get it. It's like that sometimes.
Yeah, everything is an uphill battle where I live. Mentally, I mean.
Okay. the United States of America?
The United States of me. It takes a lot of convincing and sometimes self-sabotage.
Hell yeah. Yeah, no, sometimes you gotta take 3 steps back to take 1 step forward.
Sometimes you have to punch yourself in the face to figure out what's wrong with your face.
To get properly angry, and then you can start winning the fight.
Then we're in the right voice. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie Four Lions?
I can't say I have, no.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, it's worth watching. It's a very funny
recommendation from Ramses Vanderslice?
Yes, I would recommend anyone watch the movie Four Lions. It's incredibly good. If you like sort of British satire,
I do.
It's about 4 very inept would-be terrorists. It's got Riz Ahmed in it. It's really excellent. It's got the guy from What We Do in the Shadows who plays Nandor.
Okay.
He's one of the main characters as well.
Yeah. It's
really fantastically fun.
That sounds great. 4 Lions. I'm grabbing my phone. Where is my phone?
It's no Megalopolis, but it'll do you in a pinch.
Oh shit. No, honestly, dude, there was this point in February where I was gonna be like, hey, what are you doing? I'm in town. let's fuck.
I would have dropped everything. I would have dropped everything. I don't think I need more people to see it. I need to talk about it with more people. I transcended during that.
Ever since the conversation, I have avoided almost any review of it because I don't want to be swayed. We just talked about how someone can almost force their opinion on you. Mm-hmm. Before even getting into this episode, that is something where I genuinely need to go into it, I would say 2 different ways, which is completely blank slate and also stoned out of my mind. Yeah.
Both of those things, that is the proper viewing experience.
That is the proper. Is that what Francis said to himself when he made it? Do you think?
I honestly,
Mr. Coppola?
I think he would have said something like, you need to approach it with a blank slate, not just about the movie, but also like any preconceived notions about film and about how
he would say that, wouldn't he?
Life and philosophy in general.
Yeah.
Like, if you could kind of like return.
No, sorry, I've been on this planet for about 33 years at this point. I think I have some preconceived notions about how I view things.
If you could just shake your head really hard.
No,
try to get back to baby state, and then
he'd get Nicolas Cage to visit me and beat me up.
But no, I think it's better if you know less about the film.
Uh-huh.
But even if you did know the broad strokes of the movie, you still wouldn't really be prepared for how strangely paced it is. At no point will you ever truly grasp where the film is going. And I think that's beautiful.
I'm already on board.
Can still do that.
You hit me in the right spot when you sold it to me like a car salesman the last time we spoke. So you basically gave me the you can fit so much shit in this thing, like slap the lid, conversation, and I immediately said, okay, yeah, no, I'm on board.
Excited to have seen it. I'm glad there are still auteurs left. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So talking about auteurs, we we found a recommendation. We're welcome to Lots of Pasta. I'm here with Ramses Vanderslice. We're about to get into some stuff.
Hello.
I think the last time we read something Danny suggested was last Halloween.
That sounds right. I'm going to take your word for it.
I think I called the episode Happy Halloween, Danny.
That sounds correct.
So this one, when is this coming out? This might be like Happy 4th of July, Danny.
Oh, a spooky 4th.
Damn,
that doesn't happen very often.
It's too early for 4th. I mean, technically, I could say it's the 4th of July episode and post it like literally the last day of June. That's almost funnier at that point.
Happy early 4th.
yeah. Man, what can possibly be said about Danny's suggestions to us? What more need be said about Danny's suggestions to us?
You have a lot of friends over the course of your life that probably like make a habit of recommending things to you. I just feel like this is a thing that everybody does now,
Okay,
right?
fair,
Everybody
yeah.
has like a list of media they would
I
like
do.
you to see.
Literally just added 4
ingest.
lines to it.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's a way that we all exist now. But I think that there are certain people that are like sommeliers for you specifically. Like they don't know that they understand your media taste, but they're just hit after hit.
By your media taste, I think we mean your media taste.
Yes, I'm saying that Danny Boy, whether or not he knows it, he was picking these for me specifically.
I haven't spoken to Danny in a very long time. He was one of our earlier fans. I want to say somewhere around the 2 or 3 year mark. So at that point, like 2020, like right when COVID was hitting, I spoke to him for maybe 2 or so years on and off. Because I'm again, this isn't a surprise to anyone who's listening. You email or message us. Email us at lpcaptaindeath@gmail.com if you want to send me some stuff. You could also go to our Patreon. Shout out to the Patreon. If you want to join the chat, we do have a live chat on Patreon. You could hit me up on Reddit. I run the mod for the Lots of Pasta subreddit. We have a Facebook. Yeah, I have 7 followers on Reddit. It's really cool.
Nice.
We have Facebook. A lot of people. That's actually how I met Kitty, who joined the show. She's from New Zealand. Very fun. She found us on Facebook. She messaged us on Facebook, and that's how I got to talking to her. Once I like talk to someone for a while, I'm almost open to getting them on an episode if the vibe is correct. As time has gone on, I've naturally become more desperate, and I'm willing to have almost anyone on the show. So this is a shout out to Danny. Please come back. Please come back to me, Danny, wherever you are. Hopefully you're still listening. I wouldn't say that. But
well, okay.
I wouldn't I would love to speak to him maybe on the internet.
Okay, I would love to be. Yeah, I would love to hear his voice and know that I am, outside of artillery range from Danny.
See, that's what I'm saying.
I think that'd be cool.
When we often mention people channeling their autism into whatever spectrum we're open to, Full Metal Autism, I don't necessarily want it to be in my live action vicinity, my IRL.
Yeah.
Meeting in a virtual sense is fine. I would say that about almost anyone. Kitty was an exception. Kitty was an exception because she was her and I just vibed so hard that when she told me she was coming to the States, I literally said, "Come to my house. I will show you the world shining, shimmering, splendid." and she did, and she came to Pennsylvania, and I showed her all around. She did like 2 weeks, across the country, and she spent like I want to say like 5 days in PA just to hang out with me, and I felt so enamored to meet who is arguably our biggest fan of the show.
That's so sick. But also, it
was really sick, honestly.
Because I don't know if they have violent crime over in New Zealand. I don't think they figured it out over there yet.
No,
so the worst thing that she would do is, I mean, I don't know, like plant a beautiful meadow or something.
Yeah, ride a horse. Yeah, definitely. Which she has. She's told me about it. Yeah. Legalized prostitution in brothels. Yeah.
Oh, no, there's none of that.
Yeah. Well, now you do. Very cool.
Well,
anyway,
shout out to New Zealand.
Shout out to New Zealand. Shout out to Kitty, and shout out especially to Danny Boy. Hopefully you're there somewhere in the ether. Hopefully your ears and or balls are tingling at the mention of us talking about you on what used to probably be one of your favorite podcasts. There was a point when we were reading Deep Woods, when I think I realized that story was dumb. And and it was surprising because it's written by someone who's written like a lot of really good stuff online. And it struck me that it's, we've read a couple things, you and I. We've read a lot of random stories. We've read The Showers. We read Deep Woods. We read, a couple different things of note. And by far, the funniest experience we had together was reading the stories that Danny had suggested. Would you agree? First off.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Okay, yeah, because it's such a simple, easy episode to listen to. It's just so funny. It makes me laugh every time I hear it. It's just, and I want to get back to that. I just finished like a 4-part series with someone else. I also just read like a fucking 4-hour long episode with someone else. I'm looking to take a little bit of a break. I literally am leaving for vacation in like 6 hours. So it's like, I want this to be,
your digestive.
Yeah, I want this to be
cleanser.
Yeah, I want this to be the start of something. I was gonna start singing High School Musical, and I stopped myself for just a second.
That's crazy. I had the same impulse, but I was like, that would be an insane thing for me to do. So I'm glad that
we met.
It's a shared experience.
We met there. Yeah. You could be my Gabriella, honestly, if you want.
Oh, wow. That's so kind.
I don't play sports, so I'm not even necessarily Troy. I'm probably the closeted homosexual kid. What was his name? Ryan?
Oh, man. Ryan. I think it was Ryan, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not gay, by the way. I thought out of everyone in that movie, I'm definitely none of the sports kids, especially not the black one. So it's...
Yeah. You could, I don't know if you've seen High School Musical recently. Even Zac Efron is not looking particularly athletic in it. He's
That's
way more awkward than I remember.
That's fair. No, the entire thing is way more awkward. In hindsight, it's absolutely insane. But I'm willing to go there because when we think of the stuff Danny has sent us, I also hear the word insane in my brain. And there were a plethora of things we read on the Halloween episode, and the two things I said absolutely not to were the two stories he had sent us that were over like 10 pages long. And I said, not today, Satan. And we're back to say today, Satan.
Today.
And Danny.
I'm giddy.
Are you?
I'm excited.
I have a feeling. I
really
that
hope. I don't want to overhype myself. And then be like,
see, I was just going to stop you from doing that because I feel like it's better to go in with the lowered, like, no expectation. Like, this might just be a totally normal story. Danny has sent me good stories before. I just didn't read them with you. 'Cause ironically, I didn't read them with you. None of them I read with you were good in any way.
So I guess he's not really like, I'm going to change my metaphor. He's not really like a sommelier. He doesn't really understand my palate. He's more like God. And then you are like a priest who is sort of interceding on his behalf because you understand me. So that's what's happening here.
He is my muse.
Okay, awesome. He's a god.
I
and
speak.
You're still interceding.
I speak the words through him. I am but his humble puppet.
Yeah,
with his entire hand up my ass.
Hell yeah! And I'm just sort of like one of those guys in the robes that's just happy to be here.
Yeah. And we're all just at the end of the day, we're all just getting our prostate tugged on by some weird kid on the internet.
I'm always saying that.
You're always. That's a metaphor people say. That's an analogy. I did not say like or as. that is an analogy. I'm giving this first one to you because I was very specifically want to read the next one. So I don't care so much about this one. This one, this is your gift more specifically.
Okay.
The story is called Anna's Gift. But this is your gift from me, Ramses. I feel like I just totally steamrolled the intro to get to this point. Is there anything you want to talk about? Do you have a drink? Are you okay?
I have a drink. I have water.
Uh-huh.
I had two little modelitos. I guess the little Modelos are called earlier today. There's a little block party going on for Father's Day.
Nice.
That was awesome. It was fun. This guy named Boko Telefriend was that was a very confusing name to hear over a crowd because I thought he was saying his name was Boko and I should tell a friend. But that was the full thing.
That was his name. Yeah.
And he wouldn't continue with the conversation until I had understood that fact. So that took a while. He was interesting. He asked Rosa and I a number of questions, and they seemingly had no correct answers, such as "Where is your computer?" And when she said it was at home, like you think
taking it for a walk.
You think you know the answer to that question, but apparently none of us did. Because
was it a joke? Did he just get the appliance wrong? Was he trying to say like, "Is your refrigerator running?"
No, there was no punchline. He just
nodded to whatever answer you said.
When we had said no, the opposite. He would just say,
it's a no.
Like, no, you're wrong.
No, you don't know. You don't know where it is.
So, I mean, at the end of it, I was questioning whether I did know where my computer was.
Yeah, lucky you found it for this purpose.
So that's a long way of saying I had a pretty good day. I'm feeling kind of loose. I'm at Boko Telefriend, and I don't know where my computer is, but I'm ready to read these spooky stories.
Oh, holy shit! Yeah. I mean, where am I mentally right now?
Yeah, let's do an inventory.
I've been really tired. My sleep has not been great. I'm very excited to go on vacation. Let me just say that. I love the idea of not having to spend money right now because I spent it several months ago on this exact thing. So now I just have to go.
Yes.
Because that's how it works. You spend it before and you hate doing it then so that you could be happy doing it now. And so I'm very excited. I like to kind of just go somewhere where people, wait on me hand and foot, literally, and I just eat delicious meals and drink too much. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to a resort.
Experience.
I'm going to a resort to literally just not give a fuck for 5 days straight, and I'm very excited about that because I would say over the course of the last couple Months. It's funny because the last time I recorded was maybe a month or two ago. It's just people don't know that because I space out how the episodes come out.
Sure.
So most people don't know that I haven't recorded in months, but I'm treating this like the stopgap between me and something I really want to do. Not that I'm not enjoying myself, Ramsey. Not that I'm not excited about this. I'm just treating this like the last bit of work that I have to dedicate myself to before I can continue not giving a fuck.
Sure.
You know? I think most people think that way.
We can get real weird with it if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Definitely. I think, no, sincerely, I am always grateful to have you here.
Love to be here.
I'm always happy to record with you. You are very easy to get along with and get this done with. And so far, you have not given up on me. So I will hopefully meet expectations of what we're doing.
Why are you sounding like the guest right now? What's going on?
I think honestly, I'm always super grateful for anyone who wants to do this because I realize on paper how fucking stupid it is.
I'm having a great time.
I'm not denying that people love fucking stupid things. I've been doing it for 8 years, maybe more at this point, where we have an audience for really stupid shit. I'm not trying to degrade the experience in any way. What I'm actually trying to say that I'm genuinely thankful that you enjoy doing this stupid shit with me.
And I would reflect that right back at you.
Okay, appreciate it.
It's a great time.
Cool. Danny boy, back to Danny boy. Wherever you are, Danny boy, we're reading your last 2 recommendations for us today.
Yeah, and come meet me in person. I want to hug you.
It's the end of an era. I'll give you his address. Message me and I'll give you his address. Danny boy, if you're dead, if you're oh my God. If you're out there and you're not alive anymore, I hope wherever you are, probably hell, it's doing you great. And if you're not dead, you have zero fucking excuse to not message me. I at one point at one point you messaged me too much and I said, "Danny, I'm going to need you to take a step back. I'm a pretty busy guy." And then you disappeared from my life and now I regret I never actually said it. I don't think I did. I think I just stopped responding. Mentally, I said you're talking too much. But now I'm at a place of regret because I've run out of your material that you've suggested us to read.
This is tragic.
The well has run dry on Danny Boy suggestions, and let's just say I'm not doing any footwork for my show. I am reading the same amount of stuff, and it's just getting smaller and smaller until I'm done. And
if you did shuffle off this mortal coil, slam dunk on the funeral song. Everybody knows what to play.
Shit.
Right?
Yeah. What?
It's gonna be Danny Boy.
Danny Boy.
You don't even have to think about it.
The pipes are calling.
Oh, we're gonna get a real Irish guy to do it too. That's sick.
Yeah, I think he's alive, and I think I didn't respond to him for the longest time, and he probably just stopped caring. Let this episode and last episode, Happy Halloween, Danny, be a reminder that we are looking for you. And I do want you to message me at least once, letting me know that you're both A, okay, and B, willing to maybe send me a couple more recommendations. That's it. That's all. I don't want to have an actual conversation. I just want you to do those 2 things for me. If you want to talk to someone, I could give you Ramsey's number or contact information.
But you're holding out on me, man.
Or address. Yeah. Honestly, how would you feel if I just showed up with a random person to watch Megalopolis and it ended up being Danny?
I would welcome that with open arms.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the first guest that I ever had in this home, this was not an intentional, and I'm not going to get, it's a whole story, but the first person who ever set foot in this house that I'm currently renting, that wasn't me, my wife, or my roommate, was a woman from the neighborhood who came in and smoked PCP on our back patio. So
yeah.
the
That
moral
happens.
of this story
Happens,
is I don't think that's going to happen with Danny Boy, so the bar is pretty low.
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Maybe. I actually don't know that.
You don't. You don't. He could be a murderer. The reason we could be not being hearing from him is because he killed someone. And he's in jail or...
I hope that's not true.
It's hard to say.
On the mountainside.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Maybe he... Nope, I'm not going to say that.
Oh my God. Maybe he's having a great time. You know, maybe he just like let go of
maybe
technology.
He grew up. You know, maybe
And,
Danny was
and
12 and I was 20 something and I shouldn't have been talking to a 12-year-old about scary stories.
Or maybe that's also true. I don't know, man. There's a lot of... You had the conversation.
Let's hope he didn't grow out of this, frankly.
Yeah. I hope he's never aged. I hope he's one of those.
Damn. If Danny was the one immortal walking this plane Highlander style, just fighting for life every day against the people trying to put him in the ground, now that's a story.
Oh yeah, that's why he's been radio silent, because they've been tracking him. And
then they make a live action movie and they cast someone with Down syndrome to play Danny.
Oh my God.
All right, now I'm being mean. I don't mean to be mean. I love my fans. If they didn't like me, I would feel it in my balls.
Yeah, and the knife protruding out of your side.
Et tu, Brute. Et tu, Danny. All right. Do you want to read a fucking story?
I'd love to read a story, man. Yeah.
This one is from Creepypasta, which is a bastion of good writing on the internet for all of you uninformed and unintelligent enough to know that. Today, what a wondrous day. Today's a gift. You know, that's why they call it the present.
Every day is a gift, man. Absolutely. Yes. Speak on it. Thank you.
Yeah, we're reading Anna's Gift, and I, for one, I want it to suck, but it might, but it might not.
I'm crossing all my fingers. We'll see.
All right, Ramses, you take it away.
All right, Anna's Gift, written by Danny Boy.
It was not. There's no...
I know. I want to believe, but it's... In the spring of 2005, Altoona High School held its yearly spring talent show. The events that took place that night have no explanation. After hundreds of man-hours of forensic
I'm going to
investigation...
explain everything now.
Yeah. I like a story that explains everything right up front.
Right after saying that there's no explanation.
Yeah, I hate not knowing what's going to happen. I find that it makes me kind of scared.
With stories, it makes sense to find out what's going to happen.
I like to diffuse all of that tension immediately.
By not reading at all.
Yeah, for sure. The events that took place have no explanation. After hundreds of man-hours of forensic investigation, dozens of autopsies, and help from big city police crime scene investigators.
That's what they're
Pittsburgh.
called. Yeah.
They're
called the Big City Police.
I love the big city police crime scene.
We all have big belts here in Pittsburgh. You're not a fan of the Steelers? Fuck you. Welcome to the big city.
Also, Pittsburgh, it is a larger city, but if anyone's ever been to Pittsburgh, they'll know that it is like a large, small town. Mm-hmm. It's got the vibe of a small town.
It's not vertical. Yeah.
That it is a city. It's kind of wild. Mm-hmm. The police are no closer to an answer as to what happened. Detectives actually have little to work with in regards to evidence.
So much for
Dead
big
bodies
city
don't have
police.
much to say, unfortunately. Witness statements were few and far between. Each witness statement contradicted the last. So not a lot of witness statements, but they were all contradictory. That's pretty cool.
That's a good lead.
It doesn't help when the very few witnesses that had anything substantial to say ended up dying, whether it be by suicide or car accidents. All those close enough to recall the events of that night were dying off quickly. Some did not die. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Realizing now that all of this is in quotations, who is saying this?
This is the narrator.
Who is okay. Yeah, okay.
So, like, you should be picturing sort of like slow, ponderous panning shots of Altoona, and then this is playing over top of it. Altoona, also a very nice place to live. Some did not die. For example, firefighter and first responder Tim Collins complained of nightmares at first. Tim turned to the booze and oxys and an attempt of self-medication.
As one does.
Tim's issues were manageable until he began to have hallucinations, both auditory and visual. One night, Tim attacked Jessie, his 14-year-old daughter, with a tire iron. Tim claims that Jessie wouldn't turn down the music. Jessie was found in her room, beaten to death, along with her mother Joyce. Tim's misfortune is one of many real-life horror stories that began on that April night. But we are not here to tell those stories. We are here to tell one story, from what could be gathered from the evidence that fills over a dozen file cabinets, and what little could be learned from witness reports. There is one single thread of commonality. Okay, hold on, I gotta stop already. Evidence that fills over a dozen filing cabinets. Imagine in your head, how much evidence is that? A dozen filing cabinets?
This is big city police, all right? They got big city
a
filing cabinets.
Fuckload of evidence. And yet, they also have, quote, little to work with in regards to evidence.
Listen, Ramses. Dear sweet Ramses. The filing cabinets can only hold one file. That's why they have so many filing cabinets. They're very small filing cabinets.
Really big files. The big city police need big font to read.
Exactly. Exactly. Now you're getting it.
There is one person that is uniformly mentioned throughout the investigation. Her name is Anna. This is a compilation of accounts from the Altoona Police Department's most, quote, reliable witnesses. What you are about to hear is shocking, to say the least. Or are these accounts the truth? A truth that will test everything you believe in. Be warned. I'm sorry. It's like I just gotta keep. I'm gonna say already, I'm really loving this. This is already what I wanted.
No, you're in the right place.
Be warned. What you consider reality will be challenged by these events.
It's very unsolved mysteries of you.
Yes, which I love. Anthony Quinn, author of, quote, Finding Anna, the True Story of Teenage Violence.
Teenage violence. Usually that's just shooting up a school.
Sorry, that is one form of it. This is Brad, this is Brad Martin.
The other kids with the pumped up kicks.
Yeah, or, I Don't Like Mondays. So many good school shooting songs.
Yeah.
This is Brad Martin.
I'm gonna blame The Matrix and video games, honestly.
Have people blamed The Matrix for school shootings?
Yeah, Columbine. Didn't they all wear leather and sunglasses?
Oh, that's true. They
Sorry.
were referencing hackers.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I don't. This is Brad
Were
Martin's June 2006 police statement regarding the, quote, incident. This statement was given before Brad was involuntarily committed to the Altoona Hospital's behavioral health unit. Brad never left the hospital. He hung himself with a, quote, rope he constructed out of his bedsheet.
You could have just said he hung himself with his bedsheet.
With his bedsheet? Yeah. Putting the rope in quotes there.
No. Brad was a carpenter. He constructed a thread rope out of the bedsheet.
If you want the truth regarding the incident that happened on that spring night, then you came to the wrong fucking person.
It's uncalled for.
Oh my God.
Language is
so
uncalled
aggressive.
for, honestly. Dial it down.
Thank God I decided to walk out before Anna's performance.
Oh, okay.
So I guess I won't be very fucking helpful. What I can tell you about is Anna. I wish I could tell you everything there is to know about her. Since the event, I've been obsessed with her. She was so shy and backward. like a mouse, she was silent. Thin as a rail and awkward as a teen could be, Anna epitomized what a rough adolescence looked like. Behind thick framed glasses and oily skin was an intelligent girl. People speak this way, right? I'm pretty sure people speak this way.
You're speaking this way right now
She
when you're
always-
reading it.
She always enrolled into the advanced classes and always did very well. The only reason I know she did very well is because I used to look over her shoulder during tests, trying to sneak a few answers. She used to catch me looking, but would bashfully smile and ignore the invasion of her academic privacy. When my test came back with B+, I knew it was because of Anna. Well, or her lack of concern for my deviant behavior. Between classes were the worst times for Anna. It always seemed like the hallway sharks, as I like to call them, came out to feed on Anna.
Kids in leather jackets that kept snapping as they approached her.
I also just picturing like the West Side Story. Just a bunch of snapping guys singing like really hurtful rhymes at her.
Anna banana fofana
She's sobbing. Taunts and barbed comments like, "Hey scarecrow bitch, come study my dictionary."
That's good.
And Anna, did your mom get your clothes from the
From the toilet store. That's a good one, honestly. I'm gonna take both of those.
Hey idiot, you look like trash and you stink like shit. Even Anna's personal life was held against her. What do you mean even her personal? That's all people do. What else are they gonna make fun of?
They're saying that the
man.
volume never went down. It was just a constant barrage.
I can't believe that they even drew from her personal life. Her mother worked at the recycling plant on Skyline Drive. The guys used to make sure that Anna knew her mother had a less than lucrative occupation. Anna always stayed composed and took all insults with stride.
What are you
was as
talking
if
about?
she-
Trash people make so much money. Because
Yeah,
no one
I
wants
know.
to work in it.
Also, she works at the plant. Like, I feel like that's
Yeah,
probably a
you could
pretty
be doing
decent
anything there. You could be like operations manager there and make fucking 401k. It's better than most of us. Holy shit.
Anna always stayed composed and took all the insults with stride.
Doesn't
It was as
sound
if she'd
like
gotten her revenge on them in some way.
Okay.
It was like she knew something that the bullies did not. I guess that is why I liked Anna so much. Not just because of the free answers I got from her, but because the way she held herself in the face of adversity. I wish I could say that I got to know Anna more.
You
I don't know,
can't.
man. It sounds like you
Just
really
say it.
fucking... It sounds like you know a lot about Anna. I don't...
You
like,
knew so much.
At the time, I could see why my friend Tom liked Anna so much. You know, in an I want her as a girlfriend way. Huh? Okay, but that was before we knew. I don't know why you had to clarify. I understood. But that was before we knew what the
I
Spring
meant as a
Talent
dog.
That was before we knew what the Spring Talent Show had in store for us all. If I did know what was in store, I would have killed that crazy bitch myself. I would strangle the life out of her. Because of her, I can't sleep. Because of her, my friends are dead. Because of her, my college career never happened.
I don't know. You
It's
could
hard.
probably say that, you know, you could only blame so much on someone. But where's the accountability?
It's hard to move 3 hours away from home when visions of this bitch haunt me in my sleep. And after being put on this medication, the doctors say the dramatic shift into college life would make me unstable. That's the end of that.
That's the- yep, that was that one.
testimony. Sorry. Ooh. April 2005.
This is going places.
I
Like
can already
Altoona.
tell. Yeah, this is going places like Altoona. This is, daringly original and doesn't bear any resemblance to a story that might be called Carrie that I've heard of or know anything about. April 2005, Altoona High School music director Mr. Jeff Gate witnessed statement in the hospital. He supervised the Spring Talent Show. He escaped the incident with minor injuries. Mr. Gates took an early retirement after the tragedy. He and his wife Stacy were moved to Arizona. Jeff and Stacy Gates were killed in a car accident leaving the city. The bodies were burnt so bad that dental records were used to identify the bodies. Don't say the bodies. Bookending your sentence. Put them.
The
sorry,
bodies.
the bodies.
The
were so
bodies
bad
were
that
used
couldn't
to
even see
identify
the bodies
the
anymore.
bodies.
Hi, my name is Mr. Gates. I am the high school music director. You want to know what happened last night? I am not going to talk about it.
Full caps.
Speaking frankly, I don't even know what I saw last night. I will leave it at that. I guess I could tell you a little about Anna. Well, Anna was such a sweet girl. I always caught her in the band room before, during, and after school. She was an amazing piano player. In fact, I would consider her a savant. When she sat down to play, it was as if time stopped for her music. So then how... You need time for music. I don't know. Yeah. There's like certain art forms that if time stopped, you can still comprehend. Music?
No, music
actually
is,
not one of them.
It's actually very timed. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, Anna was such a sweet girl. Her fingers were like the musical pistons driving a symphony of... Sorry.
That one tickled you.
I love when a writer feels like he needs to say something in a way that's not normal. You know, like
that doesn't make a lick of fucking sense. No. I'm right there with you. Yeah.
Her fingers were like musical.
You know what pistons are used for? Do you know what things require pistons? Do you know what things music requires?
But he's
not
doing
pistons. I love it.
It's like he starts to do a metaphor and then he just
gives up halfway through. I love it.
Musical pistons driving a symphony of wonderful sounds. I wish I could have gotten her more interested in actually being in the band. When she would stop by and ask to play the school's piano, she always asked for permission. Like I could say no to her. I would try and talk to her about joining up. She would always give a shy no. She claimed to be very busy with work after school. I even called her mother for support in my plans in getting in the band. Her mother would respectfully decline and say, Anna is very busy with work after school. When I found out that Anna signed up for the spring talent show, I was so excited for her. Maybe she would realize how fulfilling it would be to play in front of an audience of people. Anna was not very respected in the high school hierarchy. This could be her chance to change all of it. Unfortunately, I was too right. Things did change. After the events of that night, I wish that I never knew Anna. In fact, I wish Anna was a boy.
Yup. Read it.
I don't know how he goes from such like, I
loved her. She was great. Her mom should have never gotten fucked.
In fact, I wish Anna was aborted from her mother's womb.
The dad should have chopped his dick off.
To think she was capable of such pain is baffling to me. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I am sorry.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah, dude, I'm not going to talk about it. Oh, she was so nice. She should have been aborted. Like, this guy is bipolar. This borderline even. Like, the rapid swings of... Ooh. Okay. Assistant Athletic Director Jim Cabretti's police statement, taken 2 weeks after the incident. He quit his job as the assistant athletic director. Over the years, he was a regular at the police station's drunk tank. He's always talking about Anna's music in his slurred drunk stupors. It is safe to say that Jim's scarred fatty liver would have killed him if the .45 caliber bullet to the head did not. Jim committed suicide. Yeah, okay, I got that part, thanks. Jim committed suicide in the spring of 2008.
We needed it spelled out.
Oh, I thought the bullet was from somewhere else.
No, the bullet was a metaphor first. Now it's not.
And then it's real. Oh man, that's a callback. That makes it more impactful. This guy knows what he's doing. All right, so this is the assistant athletic director. I was the assistant athletic director at the time. Wait, should I be slurring this because he's drunk all the time?
You can if you want, if that makes you feel more athletic.
That's to be chaperone the night of spring talent show. Something about staff members being more active in student activities. I was really annoyed because the Penn's game was on that night. But hey, what can I do? The talent show started like any other lame talent show that's ever graced a high school auditorium. First, Susan McMahon did a cover of Katy Perry's latest hit. More like a hit to the head by the way she was singing. Oh, proof that not every child is a talented American Idol contestant. No matter what mommy and daddy say. There were comedy acts, dance routines. One kid even tried magic, but I almost died of laughter when the kid's rabbit shit in his magician's hat. I shit you not. That's not in the script, but it would be funny if it was. But that was less about all the excitement that I could pull out of this talentless show. And the curtain went down, and the lights went down. Thought the show was over. But wait, no. One more act. It was Anna. That's right. She's gonna play the piano. Apparently she played pretty well. It's my gym class last semester. Poor her. Girl had it rough in my class. She was about as athletic as a 90-pound, awkward, skinny girl could be, making her play dodgeballs. Something I regret. She practically begged me not to play. I told her if she didn't participate, she'd get a 0 for the day. Anna, being the diligent student she was, she sucked it up and played. Dan, our school's top athlete, he's really had a hard-on for Anna. I never understood why. I guess when you're a young hotshot, it's fun to pick on the weaker kids. Dan was notorious for bullying. He's nothing too serious. This time, though, he crossed the line. During the dodgeball match, he saw Anna hiding behind the rest of the students. Dan has a sniper rifle for an arm. I could see in his eyes what he wanted to do. Before I could stop him, Dan blasted Anna right in her face, breaking her glasses that cut into her eye and cheek.
Jesus.
Fucking sniper rifle arm. She hit the floor sobbing. Not one student came to her aid. I blew my whistle and I ran over to her. In the back of my mind, I thought she was being a little dramatic, but it was only a rubber dodgeball. I underestimated the extent of the injury. Bent down and brushed her hair away from her face. I could see her broken glasses sliced right through her eyelid. And in that instant, I witnessed a feral rage in that little girl's eyes. In all my years of coaching, I've never seen a look of that intensity and rage in the eyes of a student. I tried to help her up. It was surprising for her. She just slapped my hand away. She ran off into the girls' locker room. Before she got to the locker room, she turned around, gave a really odd smile. Smile that said, "Not right now, but someday you'll pay." Then she was gone.
I love smiles that say that.
And she was gone. Dan was getting celebratory rounds of high fives from his bros. And Susan McMahon said, "Dan, you are so bad," with a smile, a sick smile that turned my stomach. Dan got 3 days in school suspension. It got cut down to 1 because his lawyer father's visit to the principal. Even the head coach backed up Dan's claim that the incident was just an accident. Now, I'll never say what happened that night was right, but it's not right, let alone even explainable. But it does it makes you wonder about karma. The old saying, "What goes around comes around." Well, came around all right that night. I actually didn't see what happened. I'm not ashamed of it. I ran away when the shadows began to form on the walls of the auditorium. I'm not going to talk about this anymore.
Yes. I'm done talking about the black magics.
If you want to get the gory details, go somewhere else. Isn't it time we stop talking about that night?
No, we're literally trying to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
You are now the third person to refuse to tell us what happened.
I do love how every witness just wants to give backstory. They're like, "All right, what was the story?" "Well, I can't give you that, but have you heard
What did the
this
last person say?
exposition
Did he
I
talk
have?"
about science class? All right, well, we're going to talk about gym class now. Did they talk about what happened at prom yet? Okay, no. We'll cover prom next.
Oh my god. Okay. Whew. That's the end of the gym teacher's testimony. This is the only audio recording of a police interview from a surviving student. His name is Tom. Tom's testimony is the only direct recreation of the events of that night.
He went on to create MySpace.
Whoa, man, he's everybody's friend. This version of the story, though, greatly debated, is actually considered... I'll take that one again. This version of the story, though greatly debated, is considered what actually happened that night. Tom was blinded during the incident. Tom has been to several entomologists. Wait. What?
Does that mean what I think it does? That's the study of insects.
Yeah.
That's what I literally just saw the Phoenician scheme yesterday, and
is it good?
Michael Cera's character plays an entomologist professor, so no, it's very good. I didn't like the last two that Wes did. I wasn't a huge fan of the Newspaper One or Asteroid City, so I actually thought this one was really good.
I like the two of them, but they're not. It's no.
They're fine. I think all of his movies are good. It's just I appreciate the ones that are more narratively driven and less experimental in their form. But
totally get that. Okay, I'm coming back to this because it's incredible. Tom was blinded during the incident that night. Tom has been to several entomologists
because he loves bugs.
It's just an unrelated fact about Tom. Did you know that he loves entomology? He's all over the bug thing. No medical explanation can be given to his blindness.
He was quoted as saying, "You could take my eyes, but you can never take my love of bugs."
I love the idea. I love the idea that he's been blinded, and so because of this, he accidentally goes to the wrong doctors. And the bug doctors are like, "Yeah, dude, I don't know what's wrong with your eyes." You're blind. He's like, I guess nobody knows what's wrong.
There's nothing more we can do.
The entomologists and the optometrists share a building. He just chose like the left door instead of the right. Oh.
He didn't know.
No, that's one of the funniest.
He couldn't possibly.
It's one of the funniest like typo errors that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, no medical explanation can be given to his blindness. Tom claims his blindness is a direct result from, quote, seeing Anna's music. This delusion is probably a direct result from post-traumatic stress disorder. The grisly events are as follows. I decided to get a front row seat for Anna's performance. I was surprised at how excited I was to hear her play. Rumor has it she's amazing. To be honest, I had another agenda that night. After the show, I was going to find Anna and actually ask her out. Painful to endure the other performers. The whole time they were on stage, I was just thinking about asking her out and what she'd say. If I was that nervous just thinking about asking her out, like what would happen if I actually did? I wanted a pep talk for my friend Brad, but since Brad has the attention span of a typical ADHD teenage male that he is...
Brad also thought she was cute, right?
Yeah, probably. Leaving me alone to
Everyone
stew in my
loves and hates Anna.
Yeah, she's a really polarizing figure. Leaving me alone to stew in my own fear of teenage dating rejection. I even bought her a dozen roses. I don't care what anyone says about her. She was beautiful in my eyes. I could tell that her personality had depth, and there was a treasure trove of idiosyncrasies that made Anna. That curtain rose, the lights went dim. When Anna walked onto the stage, there was no clapping or shouted words of encouragement. In the back, I could hear Dan's big mouth saying something derogatory.
Hey, you're dumb.
I looked back at him. You boo-poo, your mom's recycling lady.
Where'd you learn to play the piano? The toilet store? God damn it.
Boo! Okay. I looked back at him and just shook my head in disgust. I thought to myself, someone should really shut him up someday. And that's when things started to get weird. I heard a faint whisper that said, "Is that what you want? Because I can and will make it happen." I turned to my right and said, "What?" to the kid sitting next to me. He said, "I didn't say anything, bro." And as I looked back to Anna, she was staring right at me with that smile. That inside joke smile she gives to people when they make fun of her in the halls. She then looked to the crowd, gave a graceful nod, and sat at the seat of the piano. She then began to play. There are no words to describe the beauty of the music she was making. It set my heart and mind on fire. I'm far from a music expert, but what I heard sounded special. I can't put my finger on it. There's something powerful about Anna's playing. Her music was like the waves of an ocean, violently crashing and then elegantly retracting back into the calm sea. I had a flood of emotions. I felt happiness, like a child on Christmas morning, then the sadness, day of my grandmother's funeral. The emotion of the music was thick with substance. Her fingers were musical pistons. Each note was a brushstroke on a masterpiece painting. The music was so dynamic, and his music put me in a trance of ecstasy. There were even tears in my eyes. It was an effort to tear my eyes away from watching Anna play. I was looking at the faces in the crowd to see if my fellow students were as moved as I was. My words were still falling short, describing how amazing this moment in time was, but it would seem that not everyone enjoyed the music like I did. I seen faces twisted in disgust. People were getting out of their seats in a rush. The guy sitting next to me was even clutching his ears as if this wonderful music was equivalent to nails on a chalkboard. This angered me to see people reacting like this. Actually, it fucking pissed me off. This is so weird. Dude, the tone of this story is so straight. Like, sometimes he slips back into a conversational tone, which is where he should be, because it's all dialogue, right?
It's all, yeah.
But it's really funny when he does it so drastically line to line, like, this angered me to see people reacting like this. Actually, it fucking pissed me off. Like, okay, one of those lines is good. Just cross out the other line.
Yeah.
The other line was weird. No one would say it like that. Actually, it fucking pissed me off to see a girl who's been beaten down all her life and now has the power to bring people to their knees, screaming in agony. Wait, no! Anna's music gave her the power to rip them asunder, blood covering the walls. Wait, no, I'm confused. That's not what it was like. It was beautiful. It was graceful. It was death. Suddenly, people around me erupted into a whirlwind of violence. Did something happen, like an accident of some sort, and people were fighting to escape? I heard you can go into shock without knowing you've gotten hurt. What the fuck is going on? I turned to the guy sitting next to me to ask the question, and he was disemboweling himself. He was looking at me with a dead-eyed grin while pulling his intestines out. He was shouting like a madman, "Do you hear? Do you fucking hear the beautiful sounds of hell?" My knee-jerk reaction was to get up and run, but fear turned my legs to jello. I was in such a state of confusion and paralyzed by fear. I wanted to help him, but the beautiful music shoved me right back into my seat. It was like Anna's music wanted me to witness this. But why? The rational part of my brain was frantically searching for a reasonable explanation, but none were found. Could they not hear it?
Something in me thinks that, like, of the scene from Kingsman where Freebird starts playing and
yes,
Colin
and
just starts
is
fucking murdering everyone in the church, and I just can't help but think that she's playing a really great rendition of Freebird on the piano. I can't change what you find. Freebird girl.
Were they deaf to Anna's magnificence?
That would be pretty cool.
Was it the music that turned these people? What if she just whipped out an electric guitar?
An electric guitar and
piano
just fucking started going.
Shredding.
Or a guitar. There you go.
The music that turned these people into psychos? While I continued to try and rationalize this situation and hid my eyes from the scenes of carnage, that whisper of a voice returned to me saying, "Open your eyes, Tom. Please, you are meant to witness this." I didn't want to listen to this disembodied voice, but pure morbid fascination forced me to turn and, quote, witness what the voice wanted me to see. Why is that in quotes? You did witness that. Strange geometric shapes flashed like a strobe light and tattooed my retina with an afterthought of the shapes. I had no idea what these shapes were, but I knew they were wrong somehow. The shapes alone made me sick. I knew on some instinctive primal level, I knew I could not see these shapes.
You ever just look at a triangle and say, "What the fuck?"
This shit's so fucked up. This shape shouldn't be like this. Will you get off showing me this shit, man?
The fuck is that fucking oval shit?
I knew I should not. This is a guy who would not handle tripping well. This is a guy who
I've
got
been
like
there.
an hour into his LSD experience, he would not be having a good time. If this is how he experiences this, I knew I should not see these shapes. Like how animals are naturally fearful of fire. For some reason, I knew they were older than time itself. Hold on. For some reason, I knew they were older than time itself and contained power that could never be explained with human vocabulary. It was a charnel house inside the auditorium. Students were ripping their eyes out, ears were bitten off heads within seconds. I love clarifying where the ears were before they were bitten off. The ears were bitten off. Bitten off where? You're not painting me a picture. Oh, the heads, you say. Now I understand. Yeah. Within seconds, blood flowed down the aisles and pooled in coagulated puddle in the front row. The math teacher, Mrs. Brown, repeatedly bashed her head into a wooden pillar while laughing and screaming in equal measure. The sound of the massacre never fell on my ears. It was replaced by the beautiful music. Anna's music. The violence flowed with the music itself. I turned to Anna. She was still playing. She was frantically pounding the keys of the piano. Blood soaked the keys from broken fingers. Blood dripped from the old wound on her eye. The entire time she maniacally played, she kept that smile. Shadows seemed to manifest like growing pools of water from where Anna played. They crept up the walls all along the auditorium. Within these unnatural shadows were tormented faces, screaming and angry. Ghostly claws ripped from the shadow into the violent horde of spectators. Throats were slashed, spines broken, heads ripped from bodies. The crowd did not seem to notice the demonic apparitions while they dove deeper into acts of violence and self-mutilation. What I seen is unspeakable. It was an orgy of the macabre, death intertwined with sexual acts, to the flowing music that Anna pumped into the auditorium, like the pulse to this massacre. My head started to swim. The unexplainable shapes I seen were somehow an explanation to the violence around me. It was as if these shapes were the blueprint to the music. Not like musical notes like on sheet music, but they were the inspiration for the music, the primogenitor of the music. I was feeling faint from using that word.
I saw it in a dictionary once.
Yes.
No one's ever used it before.
It was getting darker before I blacked out. I seen Dan on his knees as if he was praying to Anna. She stared into his eyes and continued to play as the shadows came for him. He was screaming about forgiveness and mercy. What he exactly said, I will never know. A ghostly hand came through the ground and ripped his lower jaw off. Before his bleeding, lifeless body hit the floor, Anna's whispering voice said to me, "See, my sweet Tom? I shut him up. Now please go to sleep while I finish my performance." Without argument, I slumped to the floor. The roof caved in moments later. How do you know? Okay. I woke up to the sounds of sirens and a burly firefighter picking me up off the ground. "We got a live one here," he said. I heard screaming from the crowd. From the crowd that formed outside the auditorium. I heard things like, was it a gas explosion? A bombing? And where is the gunman? Sorry. The building is exploded.
Gunman?
Yeah. This guy shot this whole auditorium to death. He blew up the roof of the auditorium with his big gun. Mm-hmm. I tried to ask about Anna in my dazed stupor. I must have blacked out again. Next thing I know, I'm in a hospital bed with a nurse there changing my IV bag. Was it real? Only the memory of the music is the reminder of what happened then. Only the memory of the music is the reminder that what happened that night was real. After Anna's mother, Debbie, was found hung in her home on Skyline Drive, this note was found on her person. According to the date of the letter, it was written the day of the talent show. It was addressed to Mom from Anna. Oh, we're finally going to get Anna's perspective.
Hell yeah, dude.
Dear Mom, I am not going to get into the reasons why I did what I did. Sure, I could talk about how I was picked on. I could cry about how I came from humble beginnings. I'm not one of those cliche victims that you see on those cheesy daytime talk shows. There's so much that I want to tell you. I just don't have time. See, what I'm about to do tonight is a long time in the making. I may not complain about how shitty my life was. That doesn't mean my rage wasn't developing after all I've been through. Yes, dear mother, my rage has been honed to a fine point. I've never been more focused in my life. I know you had high hopes for me, going to college, getting a degree, and we can move away from all this shit. After tonight, that will not be possible. Don't get all self-righteous on me, Mom. Let's be honest. You love the bottle a little more than me. But that's okay. I'm not mad. I've found others to replace a mother's love. One of the good things you've done for me was burying that small electric piano. Let's try that again. It's because that's a crucial verb I fucked up.
That's
okay. One of the only good things you've done for me was buying me that small electric piano. I'd spend hours in that room just playing until my fingers ached and bled. Bled? How? I've never heard of a pianist getting to that point. I don't even know how you'd have to play.
Haven't you seen Whiplash? Don't you know people play so hard that they bleed? People do that, you know.
The piano, though, you got to really be hitting it in a weird way.
No, they don't do that. No one does. That's not real. I was joking. I was joking.
I know.
The person who wrote this was Damon Chazelle.
Do you remember? Probably not. You were drunk most of the time. But like I said, that's okay. I hold no ill will towards you.
It's not how it sounds.
Like all tragic stories, there's a part of the story where the main character has to make a choice. The character has to decide whether they want to follow their fate and travel the road that's been paved for them, or do they walk away from things and build something that is theirs. Well, Mom, I choose to blaze my own trail. With that decision, I was visited by him. He's... I don't know what you'd call him. Calling him a demon wouldn't be right. He is not a ghost. I guess you could call him a form of energy. He has been around a very long time. He is very old and very wise. He's told me some amazing things. He's taught me so much. He came to me in a dream at first. The dreams would get more realistic and detailed. Then I started to see him at the corner of my vision. I turned to see him, but he'd be gone. After that asshole Dan hurt me in gym class, finally revealed himself. When he finally showed himself to me, it was magnificent. There are no words to describe him. He picked me up and he said he'd help me. He said he would hurt the ones who hurt me. Any other point in my life, I would say no to hurting people. But on that day, sitting in the locker room bleeding, I could only say yes. After that, he would visit me nightly. The room always gets cold and dark when he shows up. He'd usually come when I play my piano. He said that I'm very talented, and people should hear me play. This is like the weird, like shady agent that is approaching a child. Mm-hmm. Oh, you could be you could be big on TV.
This is actually the story of Taylor Swift.
People forget about the auditorium full of dead kids.
You know they don't. It happens every year. No one cares.
Oh, okay. somewhere in the middle of PA. You know,
haven't you heard her last album? Sure killed me.
He told me that if I played in front of everybody, people would respect me and maybe even love me. That's why I made the decision to play in the talent show, to give everyone my gift of music. He will be there tonight. He said that he wants to see the looks on people's faces when I perform. Wish me luck. Wish me luck me.
Wish me luck me.
Wish me luck me. I have a feeling that I will not see you again. He said that if I play well tonight, he'll take me with him. He wants to show me a place that's very special to him. I better practice before tonight. He said that my music will have a special sound tonight. I am so excited, Mom. Anyway, goodbye, Mom. Wish I could stay more. But he said not to ruin the surprise. The following was supposed to be the opening to my book about Anna and the events of that night. After recent events of my own, this has somehow become my suicide note. Oh, there's too many layers to this.
Very cool.
I have dug deep into this tragedy. In fact, I have dug too deep. For a year and a half straight, I have been searching for the truth. This truth is my nightmare now. For all intents and purposes, I have found the truth. Or more like the gaps in the story. Actually, the truths have found me. Where did Anna learn her power? Who was this dark force that visited her? And why were all the witnesses killed so mysteriously?
Have you not been listening to your own fucking story?
I can't put it together. I found all the answers. I even documented everything.
Everything!
But you will not know these truths. Some truths need to never be understood. You will not understand right now, but my death is needed so others may live. I know. You don't get it. Dude, yeah, I actually think I might get it, man. You don't get it. I'm not sure if I fully do. That I actually believe. If you find my files, please do not read them. Why is he not destroying them?
Yeah.
I made the mistake of being arrogant. I was stupid enough to think that this was
the
just
main character
story.
Energy of so many of the people in this story.
Yeah, it's a story filled with main characters, and I really love it. I thought this was just another story of a teenager violently breaking under the pressure of high school life. If you are an arrogant young author trying to write the next masterpiece of the century like me, you will regret it. If you pick up where I left off, which I know someone is stupid enough to try, you will end up just like me. What you've heard so far is just the beach, and there's an ocean of horror left to be explored. Did you think that Anna was the first? Did you? You have so much to learn and understand. The past 20 years are filled with kids like Anna, but I don't have time to explain this to you.
I have to kill myself now.
I have to kill myself. I just have a few more pages. I just need to do this first. I guess this is it. To save the lives of my family, I must fucking shoot myself in the head. My wife complained of seeing weird geometric shapes in random everyday objects. Just like me. Only a few short weeks ago. Just like Tom during the incident. I have to go. He's here, standing in the corner, just watching me. I know what he wants, and he can't fucking have it. I will do anything to save my family. I hope it isn't too late to save them. From Anthony Quinn. Quote, was going to be the author of Finding Anna, the true story of teenage violence. And if you thought that was the end of the story, no, there's one more layer to it. This is a promotional email for Christian Stewart's book, quote, The Forbidden Story of Anna, The Truth That Was Denied.
Jesus
An excerpt
Christ.
from the book was included with the email. Anthony Quinn, the author of the highly anticipated and unreleased book Finding Anna, The True Story of Teenage Violence, was found in his home with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Hold on, I'm going to finish the story and then comment on this. His wife and 2 sons were found in the master bedroom. Their deaths are yet to be explained. According to the autopsy results, the children died of traumatic brain injuries, which caused a cerebral hemorrhage in both boys. The mother, Janet, died of a profound compression and dorsal dislocation of the brainstem. The autopsy report is the clean-cut version for the papers. What really happened? Janet bludgeoned her 2 children to death with her fists until her hands broke, and somehow found the strength to snap her own neck with the same broken hands. There were strange symbols and shapes written on the wall with blood, as if some ritual occurred. In this book, I, Christian Stewart, have found the truth of Anna and the series of deaths related to the incident of that night. The truth will be uncovered and fully investigated. Many authors have failed, but I, Christian Stewart, have found secret documents that have never been seen before. For the first time ever, these documents will be released to the public, exclusively in my book, Christian Stewart, me, coming soon. Pre-order at Barnes & Noble. Now. Okay, let me just say, it was worth me getting excited about. The story was as good as I was hoping.
You really hit the ground running on that one.
Whew. Oh boy.
What more be said about Anna's gift? No, seriously, say more.
I don't. What am I supposed to?
If you thought that you were gonna read a story in a story in a story, then I got news for you.
I don't. What did he think adding the extra layers did for the story? What was the? Oh, why add the? I don't get it. I know he's gonna kill himself when he writes the note. I take it for granted he's gonna kill himself. You don't have to then add a note saying he killed himself. I know that he was gonna do that. I just love. I love someone who's like really afraid that the reader is not going to get it. And so they just
overspell. Yeah, overspell it out.
They over-explain it. And in some genres, it is less harmful, but in horror, it's so deleterious to what you're going for, because you want some ambiguity, you want some mystery to keep that tension going. But if you keep stopping every 20 seconds to over-explain, you should just take all the air out of the tires. It's crazy.
Not to mention the really weird plot device of it being first-hand account, recordings converted to text, converted to a book, converted to a book of a book. Just where was the thread? Where were you going?
It was hard to know in all of those interstitial portions where it was the narrative voice. It was hard to know where that text is supposed to be appearing. Is it supposed to be appearing in the final book?
The book of the book? Yeah.
The book of the book? Where this
the book
is a
of the book
of the book?
Files. Yeah.
That will be coming? Or did that appear in the initial book, or did that appear in the transcripts compiled by the Big City Police Crime Scene Investigators Department of Pittsburgh?
You know what's a really cool framing device?
What?
Just telling a fucking story.
Yeah, well, I'm not even like it could be.
My
told
name's
through...
Anna. I'm having a tough time at school.
Sure,
I'm being
sure.
bullied, but I have a trick up my sleeve. My alcoholic mother got me a piano.
Well, you could do.
I'm
you
really
could
good
do...
at playing the piano. A guy visits me at night. I think he's otherworldly. He's gonna tell me to get revenge on them. I'm gonna go get revenge on them. There's a boy I like, but even he has to be sacrificed. Bingo, bango. Bob's your uncle. I killed a bunch of kids.
Sure. Yeah, and even if you wanted to have the device of this is a series.
Oh
of
yeah, of it being like
reports
five
after
case
the
files.
incident.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a million stories that are written that way that are pretty well done.
We've read several of them. Yeah.
And that's fine. Or even if you wanted this to be like an excerpt from a book he should have chosen one thing maybe and like made that thing work, and not chosen three things and not made any of them work.
No, Ramses, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Well, okay, he should have done exactly what he did because I had a great time.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But if he was going for maybe a story that I didn't laugh at, these are my notes.
Good point. Good point.
I would keep the entomologist bit in there because that's
it's the
really
best part,
funny.
honestly. Yeah.
He went to several entomologists. No one knows why he went blind.
No one knows why he didn't want to talk about bugs at all. Couldn't even see them.
Oh. Whew.
I had a really cool butterfly when he came to visit me, and he couldn't even look at it. He wanted to know about praying mantises. I was like, you came to the right place.
That's not interested in any of this shit.
Are any bugs blind? It's a dumb question, but...
Worms?
Yeah, worms see a different way, right? Like tactile.
Yeah, they don't have eyes.
They don't have eyes. Yeah, that's fair.
I think most insects.
Most insects have eyes. Yeah.
That's a good
cool
question.
talk. Cool story. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Anna's gift is the gift that keeps on giving. Obviously.
Okay. Was I being too harsh? Now that I've taken a step back,
no,
and
that story was dumb as hell.
My giggle chair. Okay, because I really wasn't.
No, I don't think you were hard enough. Honestly, you're actually more restrained. All right.
Oh man.
Yeah. We're just gonna keep on plowing forward.
That sounds great.
It's my turn. I'm gonna read something really fun. I hope. I mean, the title is cool. It's literally just the next page if you want to follow along. I'm going to try to read it.
I met the monster in my closet.
Yeah, I'm going to try to read this one pretty quick.
Okay. I'll keep my giggles.
No. Interrupt when you want to interrupt. I think there's a point. This one's also spaced. You could already tell it's spaced way differently than the other ones.
This is me hitting the page count. All right, nice.
Yeah.
This guy was ready for the notes.
Yeah.
That I'm inevitably going to give to him.
So what's interesting about Anna's gift is, just based off the title, you're like, okay, what's going to happen here? And then you get into it and it's like, okay, the gift was what she played for the audience that night.
Yeah.
You're learning what that gift meant to the world around her and how they experienced it, and it was interesting. Could have been told better, literally a litany of different ways, but alas, it was told the way it was, which was some story inside a story inside a story with other stories going on. So we're hopefully not doing that again. Yeah, this one already seems better based off of what I'm seeing, but I like the premise. As a kid, Ramses, were you afraid of the monster in your closet?
I was afraid of the dark generally. Mm-hmm. And I would see
it feeds into the same idea, yeah.
Yeah, and I would see things in the dark. Mm-hmm. Like when it's just dark enough that you can make out shapes in your room, and you're just like looking at the shapes, and you're like, wait, I actually don't know what that is. It's probably like a crumpled up towel on the floor. Yeah. But you can't tell for sure, and you look at it long enough that you've convinced yourself that it is some sort of malignant being. Yeah,
I actually
so
love that. Yeah, that's a really cool trope in horror movies. I recently saw that used in a movie called Daddy's Head, which was really great.
Daddy's Head. That's a great name.
Daddy's Head, yeah. A kid whose dad dies. He's forced to live with his stepmom because his mom already died giving birth to him. So he's forced upon another woman who's not even related to him, who really just wanted to marry the dad for loving the dad. Wanted basically nothing to do with the kid. The kid's obviously going through some trauma, but it manifests in the form of the father's head, I want to say, growing spider-like limbs and following him around and speaking to him in the night.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, there's really cool scenes of it, like sitting in the vent, next to his bed in his room, just talking to him. That's really, honestly, really good effects work. But yeah, it does the thing where he wakes up and he looks around the room and you don't see anything, and then something moves, and you're like, was that a thing, or is that something that's actually there?
Yeah.
It does the thing. Yeah.
It definitely freaked me out as a kid, and having spoken to people now as an adult about it, it seems like it was a fairly universal experience.
It is,
which is nice
certainly.
to know.
Yeah. I didn't think there was a monster in my closet,
if...
personally. Yeah.
Yeah, no. My closet wasn't in my room, so I didn't, because it wasn't within like
your peripheral
cone of vision.
Yeah.
It wasn't the fear.
Yeah. I had a very large closet in my childhood home, but I liked to go in there. I was a kid who liked to hide, honestly.
Ooh, oh man. Was there ever anything better than finding like a little nook as a kid?
The cool thing about my closet is there was a tiny door in there that led to a little fully furnished storage space. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's sick.
I would literally open that up and just go in there. But the thing that always kind of scared me, the thrill about it, was that if you were to put even like a fucking shoe against the other side of this door, I couldn't open it. So there were a handful of times where something would get bunched against the door and it would get stuck and I wouldn't be able to open it from inside there. And I would have to yell for my mom or brother to come and get me.
Yeah, so. I don't love that.
No, and that's eventually after the second or third time of that happening, I stopped going back there. But I did like to do the whole, I had a very big closet. It was like a fully walk-in closet. And it was the type of thing where it's like, I would love to go in there, put my blankets down, get like a little flashlight and like read a comic book and just kind of keep the door cracked, even like during the day. So, it was like a little space, my own little, I shared a room with my brother. So it's like, it was my own little private space.
Right.
I'm going to try to read and then you tell me if we break up at all,
Yeah, I got you.
But I'm just going to go, and you feel free to jump in whenever you want to talk about something.
I will.
I don't know.
Something pops into my
I
head.
don't know how stupid this is going to be, so I'm hoping, I'm hoping it is, honestly. I want to read something stupid, too. I met the monster in my closet, also from Creepypasta, so great. There we go. Everyone has heard of the Boogeyman. A creature, tall and dark, who comes out at night and preys on fearful children. The story is a classic tale, one that every kid and their neighbor like to scare each other with during sleepovers.
Prays with a Y, or with an A, by the way.
Yeah.
He just sort of prays over them.
Yeah, he just shows up and wishes them good health. People have come up with several different versions of this story, like how the boogeyman only comes out during the full moon, werewolf style. How it can transform itself into your greatest fears, or how it lives under your bed and waits for the right moment, right when you are most vulnerable, and snatches you. Now that's good. That's the primal fear.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the truth. There is no such thing as the boogeyman. No.
This guy just turned 10?
No,
what
just
is
right here. You're done. No, fuck Santa Claus. No, there is only something far different. That's not even a man, baby. Something that strays from the legends. Something that you wouldn't expect. How do I know this? you might ask? I would ask, actually.
I would kind of assume the next sentence. I'm gonna
It's
be real.
because I saw the thing with my very eyes. I was 11 years old when it happened.
I was close when I said 10.
You were? I lived in a relatively quiet home in the suburbs with my mother and father. Being an only child, I had the privilege of getting everything I asked for. I had a large bedroom all to myself, filled with a vast assortment of toys and video games. I admit, I was quite the spoiled kid. As the weeks went by and storage space in my room slowly decreased, my parents decided it was time I got somewhere to store all my junk that wasn't on the floor. So a few weeks prior to when it happened, they had found an old second-hand closet and decided it would fit nicely in my room. Oh, like a wardrobe. Okay. I had no idea what they meant. Like, do you go to the closet store and buy a closet there? As the
closets.
Yeah. As the 11-year-old I was, I didn't have much of an opinion on the closet and let my parents place it and clean up how they wanted. Several days passed by without any abnormal happening. I saw my friends from time to time and otherwise occupied myself playing games. Days turned into weeks, and soon enough the closet was cluttered with my crap. Dust and cobwebs collected at the top. Bite marks framed the door, and part of the corner had been chipped off due to my friends being a little too careless with roughhousing. If the second-hand closet looked odd before, it aged quite rapidly after spending a few weeks in my bedroom.
Bite marks?
Yeah, that caught me off guard too, but I was...
Are there animals in
Are
the
there
house?
animals in here? The kids are animals, let's be honest.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Thinking back, there was something about the closet that always felt a little off. It was like I got this bad feeling, shivers, every time I got close to it, but as the kid I was, I took little to no notice of this and brushed it off as nothing. The night it happened, I had been playing with my favorite stuffies, making them play fight with each other. My playtime was interrupted by my mother entering the room and telling me it was time for bed and to stop making my stuffies fuck one another. I reluctantly put my stuffies away in the closet and crawled into bed. My mother tucked me in, peppered a few kisses on my cheek, and closed the lights as she left my room. I knew that I should have gone to sleep, but at the time I just couldn't. I tried. I really did, but I had too much pent-up energy. I wanted to keep playing with my stuffies, not sleep. Surely 10 more minutes wouldn't hurt, I had thought to myself. I rolled over and watched the door for a few moments until I saw the light from around the border flick off. I sat across the border, the Mexican light. I sat up and instantly got to work, opening my nightlight, then pattered towards the old closet. In the dim light, the closet felt like it was towering over my little body. I never really realized how tall it was until then. I felt myself shivering as I neared the piece of furniture, which I found odd because I didn't feel cold at all. Dismissing this, I reached up and opened the door as silently as I could as to not alert my parents, and looked in. Toys and cards and board games were scattered messily along the closet ground. Unable to really see. The closet ground.
What is this piece of furniture?
It is a wardrobe, but it is from ceiling to floor, and they bought it at the closet store. Unable to really see, I reached in blindly, attempting to find my favorite stuffy, but to no avail. Can't we just say stuffed animal, for fuck's sake? I'm really getting sick of saying stuff.
Stuffy.
Frowning, I leaned my body forward when suddenly I felt myself tumbling forward and right into the mess, the door behind me croaking loudly as I did so. Creaking loudly? Okay. I fumbled for a few moments to catch my footing, but found it was impossible to stand up with all the clutter around me. I scrambled forwards to try to find the walls of the closet so I could support myself, but I couldn't seem to find, no matter how far I reached out. Instead, I stumbled over myself once more and felt my body drop. A slight panic rose in my chest as I scurried backwards and finally felt myself push open the closet door and tumble out. I sat there on the floor, breathing heavily while allowing myself to calm down. It took a moment, but as my eyes adjusted to my surroundings, I quickly realized that I wasn't in my room anymore. I knew this because...
No shit, man. You're in the closet.
You're in the closet dimension. Like Tom Cruise. I knew this because I could see the faint outlines of the walls, and compared to my large, spacey room, this place was tiny. Not only that, but I could feel something soft and woven underneath where I sat, which was a contrast from the hard, cold floors of my own room. I stood and pattered forward cautiously until I hit something large and stiff. I wasn't sure what exactly I bumped into, but before I could have the chance to reach out and touch it, I heard a quiet click. A light had been turned on, causing me to hiss and squint my eyes in order to adjust from the darkness. I opened up my eyes and was finally able to see my surroundings. I was in a bedroom of sorts. It was small and painted a light pink color and was adorned with a high-pitched sound coming from behind me, interrupting my thoughts, and I froze in an instant. There was something else here. I wasn't alone. I swallowed and turned around. Before me, at a little distance, stood the form of a being I had only heard about in night terrors. Its skin was pale and weathered, with splotches of deep red stained underneath its wide, beady eyes. Its head was abnormally round, and long, disheveled strands of hair matted its face. 2 oval-shaped bulges stood out from either side of its face, partially hidden by its strands of hair, but still very much visible. Perhaps the most disturbing feature on its face being the wart placed right in the center that oozed clear liquid out of one of its holes. Its physique, on the other hand, stood quite short in stature. Its body was oddly symmetrical and proportionate, with bones barely visible through the skin due to excess flesh and meat on the creature's body. Its slender limbs had curled in on themselves, and its paws protruded short, round claws at its tips. A fresh wave of fear consumed my being as I locked eyes with the monster, who stood as still as I was. I couldn't move an inch of my body, motor functions freezing, as if they had lost all responses. But then, without warning, it started moving slowly toward me. It was quivering, twitching. It moved its limbs in a tentative way, one short appendage stretching itself in front of the other. It stopped quickly and suddenly. I could see the figure's thin torso breathing in and out at an irregular pace, breath coming in, nothing more than a series of horrifying wheezes. My heart skipped a beat and I shook in my spot, my own breath labored by panic. I stared into the creature's dark eyes and swallowed, thicker this time, forcing back a ball of anticipation that stuck with it. Any moment now, any sudden movement, and this thing could jump at me. And that would be it. I shifted my eyes around the room, but there was so little space and nowhere to run. The only exit was being blocked off by the monster. But then, something strange happened. The creature backed away and started to make noises. Croaks and cracks and strange sounds came out of the thing's mouth, its facial expressions morphing as it mumbled, its eyes leaking some kind of clear liquid. Was it trying to say something? Was it trying to threaten me? It had to be. There was no other fact. But its voice sounded minuscule, as frightened as I was. Surely it wasn't trying to talk to me.
I love that this guy's like, is it trying to threaten me? Surely it was. It's ugly, so it must be trying to
It's
kill me.
evil. It's so ugly.
It's making noises. This thing probably is murderous.
I stared at the creature. My thought process told me that maybe I could try to communicate with it, long enough to stall it and run until I could make it back to safety. And so I allowed a simple, cautious word to escape my lips and interject the creature's incoherent sounds. Hello? And then there was silence. The creature stiffened at my words, wide eyes becoming impossibly wider and pink mouth dropping down into what I recognized an expression of shock. I thought for a moment that maybe it understood me, until an ear-piercing wail erupted from the monster. The creature threw its head...
dialogue option?
Yeah, no. Hello was not the right choice. The creature threw its head back and shrieked a terrible sound that I had never heard in my life, being nothing short of purely animalistic. In my frozen state, I could see a light begin to illuminate from the small crack of the door, and a series of heavy banging sounds that came closer and closer to the room, getting louder as they did so. That's when I realized what was happening. It was calling its sisters.
How did you realize
Why
that?
not parents? Yeah, assumptions are being made.
Yeah.
Realization dawned fast as the panic rose in my chest. The only thoughts going through my head at that moment was that if I didn't get out now, surely I was going to die. I was going to die without my family ever knowing where I went or what happened to me. The banging noises got closer, and I began to hear the sound of the other creatures getting closer. Their voices were deeper and less shrill than that of the thing in front of me, but caused shivers in my bones anyway. I had to get out. But how? I looked behind the creature, and sure enough, an exact replica of my closet stood up against pink walls. Adrenaline shot through me, and I suddenly regained control of my legs and made a dash for it, clumsily avoiding the creature as I bolted past it and straight to the familiarity of the wooden closet. Wooden closed. I latched onto the handle and tore open the door with might I didn't know I contained. I hauled myself through the door and went to slam it shut before stopping myself last second, realizing quickly that the sound would only alert the monsters of my location. Would the child monster not immediately alert them to your location? All right. I curled up and...
Isn't there only like one way in and out, it feels like, of this place?
There's the door the noises are coming from, and there's the closet that he came from. So process of elimination would just suggest that you just go back through the closet you came through, right?
That's what I would do.
The kid needs to express that. I curled up and stayed as still as possible, as quiet as possible. Through the thin crack of the door, I could only see the back of the monster and not its face. The banging noise coming from its sisters ceased, but I could now clearly hear their voices, and I knew that they must have arrived, standing somewhere I could not see them. Muffled sounds and thuds were all I heard for a couple of moments before a new figure came into my field of vision, and I felt paralyzed as a new wave of fear that overtook me. The thing was massive. It appeared to look a fully fledged version of the wailing creature, a developed version. It crouched down to hold the smaller creature, and what seemed like hoarse, soothing sounds came out of its mouth. And it appeared to work, because the little creature slowly calmed down from its hysteria. Another, even deeper voice came from behind the door where I could not see, and the little creature responded to it. Unintelligible sounds came out of its mouth, and to my horror, it stretched out its limbs to point right in my direction. Right to where I was hiding.
I mean, he saw you go in there, man.
Yeah, he saw you go in. That's what I'm saying. I could see the shadow of an even larger creature stepping toward my direction and flinched harshly, blind panic escaping me. I swallowed hard, willing the blur in my vision to disappear, but it refused. I shut my eyes and scooted backwards as far as I could, bracing myself for the worst. I kept crawling back and back, waiting for the moment the light would come in and expose my identity. Except it never came. Instead, I felt my back hitting into several little items. They clattered all around me as I pushed backwards in fearful determination to get away. Then I felt myself hitting what must be the door of the closet and tumbled out, back-flipping painfully through a clutter of toys until I finally rolled out of the dark closet. For a long moment, I simply laid there in front, curled in a fetal position, unwilling to move. I hugged myself tightly with all of my limbs to try to stop my body from shaking, but it didn't do much. Then, finally, I willed one of my eyes open. I was back in my room. I was back in my room. I couldn't believe it. Nothing had changed from since I left, save for the toys that were now scattered all around me. The closet doors were closed. And then I did the only thing I could think of in that moment. I screamed. I had no idea how long I was screaming for, but all I knew was that my voice was starting to break and I could no longer keep back the cries of absolute anguish I had been holding in me. I was too out of it to notice the banging of my parents' footsteps making their way over to my room or their voices calling out frantically. I didn't process the lights being turned on and only snapped out of my trance when my mother so softly and soothingly reached out her 3 arms to cradle me to her bony chest. What? What?
Nice.
Is
Now
this
we're getting somewhere.
Is this also a monster? Okay, I don't know if that was a typo or not. Okay.
Unclear. I think it's not.
Yeah. Okay. Sweetheart.
Maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah, sweetheart, what's wrong? Tell mommy what's wrong. Closet, I rasped and reached out an arm to point directly at the closet. Both my mother and father shot their 8 bright red eyes to each other.
I'm thinking
then to the closet. Then back to me. It was my mother who spoke first. Oh, sweetie, what's wrong with the closet? Monster, I mumbled, shoving my face deeper into the comfort of her bones. I heard my mother whisper something to my father, but I couldn't quite make out what they were saying. I felt a slender, clawed hand run circles up and down my back. Daddy's gonna go have a look in the closet, okay? Oh, shit, sorry, that's mother. Daddy's gonna have a... shit. Daddy's gonna go have a look in the closet, okay? My mother whispered to me in her calm voice. I wanted to say no. I wanted to tell my father to stop before it was too late, but I couldn't. The words literally dying in my throat as if something in me physically wilted and died. I dared to peek 3 of my eyes open and watched as he opened the closet doors without a moment of hesitation and found nothing. There was nothing there except a messy pile of toys and a wooden wall behind it. My father smiled, exposing his sharp fangs in a reassuring way. See, kiddo, nothing to be worried about. But it was there. There was 3 of them with 2 arms and legs, and it had so much hair and so much flesh. My mother shushed me and rocked me gently. Shh, you're really tired, honey. There's nothing to see. Now, why don't we go back to sleep? Oh, here, why don't you take Mr. Fluffles with you? Mr. Fluffles, my favorite stuffy, had been sprawled out on the ground right beside me. Its one eye and cute toothless smile bored straight at me. My father bent over and took Mr. Fluffles into his bristly arms and guided me out of my mother's arms to heft me up in his own. He shuffled over to my bedside and placed me onto my bed, tucking me and Mr. Fluffles in, and placed a kiss on my forehead. A wave of exhaustion overcame me, and I couldn't help but stifle a yawn. I heard my mother chuckle lightly as she stood beside my father at the edge of my bed. Are you going to be okay to sleep now, sweetie? Despite the shock I still felt all over my body, I nodded my head slowly. I was just too tired. I didn't want to play anymore. I just wanted to sleep. Sleep and pretend this never happened. The last thing I heard before I lost consciousness was my father's voice whispering, "Remember, kiddo, there's no such thing as the boogeyman." And that was something I was sure of. What a spooky story. Well, spooky. Absolutely spine-chilling. How very R.L. Stine of you with that twist.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think, this is one of the first ones that I've been on to read with you, where I like the general conceit of the story, and I think that most of it's fine. I would cut out the last, 2.5 pages. I think you need to basically end the story the moment the reader understands what the twist is.
Yeah,
There's
you
no
don't
reason
need to
to keep
embellish.
writing the story after that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering now if in the beginning the bite marks on the wardrobe
Were
were
foreshadowing.
an early indicator.
Yeah.
In which case
They
I
probably
kind of
were. Yeah.
But man, he really hammed it up with the 3 legs and 8 red eyes and many claws.
Basically
and
spider people. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm now seeing, I mean, I saw it after the twist, but obviously the world that the spider person tumbled into was ours.
Right. Yeah, and he's just looking at a baby.
He's looking at a little kid.
Or a toddler. Yeah.
Looking at a little kid. We probably look
like.
weird to animals, like we're
it's very
hairless.
Monsters Inc.
Yes. This was Mr. Waternoose's son. This is I should have read the voice of Mr. Waternoose. It was I forget. I'll kidnap 1,000 kids before I let this company die.
Nice.
So yeah,
yes,
it's the best. Yeah, I'll kidnap 1,000 children. Yeah, you can isolate that quote, everyone. You could isolate me saying that because I will kidnap 1,000 children before I let lots of pasta die. No, I'm gonna let it die very quickly and preferably soon. Honestly, when exactly, yeah. Let's start the hashtag on the Reddit thread. All right, so I mean, my story was obviously better, but we're not talking about what story was better. This isn't a dick measuring contest, especially not with you. Very clearly, we enjoyed Anna's gift is the gift that keeps on giving.
There's a lot to chew on there.
There is, like a closet.
Like a closet. Oh, that's a lot to chew on. It would take me a while to get through that closet. Like eating a Jeep one part at a time. I think it would take me several days before I could even get halfway through the closet. Yeah. No, there's not a lot to talk about with the second story. Just because it's like really straightforward. I think it's longer than it needs to be in several parts.
It did exactly what we said the problems with Anna's gift were, because the way you don't tell that story is about someone telling someone a story of a time that they went into their closet and came out in a different world, and then they turned out to be spider people. You don't need to bury the lead with that one.
Yeah, it gets right into it. I would, like I said, there's some aggressive cutting that I would do with the second one just to really tighten it up, because there aren't a lot of twists and turns. So I think it would just be like, cut out the little preamble in the beginning. Where he's
at the end of the day, this is creepypasta. It literally did the creepypasta thing. So
100%. 100%. This is me. If I had to give notes, but as far as stories we've read on here, I think this was pretty competently told. It didn't try to do a bunch of stuff that was overly ambitious. It had a fun little twist ending. I like that. I like all of it.
Yeah. No, agreed.
It's not Anna's gift. It's never going to be Anna's gift.
Yeah. Now here's the real question that I know everyone is
write.
Everyone is waiting for me to ask you this question, because it bears being asked. Do you think you like Anna's gift more than Jesse Mack?
Than Jesse Mack?
You don't even remember reading that, do you?
I don't even remember which one is that, because I think I probably remember the details. I probably remember the details, but I don't. The title is confusing me.
Jesse Mack had to have been one of the first stories we read together, which at this point is probably 2 years ago, so I definitely don't fault you for not remembering.
My memory is also just dog water, so that's a big part of it.
No. It's an obscure reference at best. Jesse Mack, it was a story of like a college-age guy living in a shitty apartment with a bunch of other people, and they never met a person named Jesse Mack, but someone was obsessed with Jesse Mack, and they like wrote it everywhere and chanted it shit. And this person essentially got like haunted by Jesse Mack, but we never actually knew who Jesse Mack was. And the story really didn't have a purpose. The idea was just there were a bunch of fanboys for Jesse Mack, and there was like a self-imposed insanity for people who question Jesse Mack. Even as a name, it got like stuck in their heads. It was like a worm. Mm-hmm. Like an earworm. Like someone says Jesse Mack, and you're just like, fucking Jesse Mack, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, some sort of like linguistic and neurological virus. Mm-hmm. I kind of vaguely remember this.
Yes, it was probably the heightened of that episode. You were very excited about reading Jesse Mack.
I would have to reread it to give you a full breakdown of which I prefer.
Because today Anna's gift
recency bias is going to give me Anna's gift every day, because I'm still turning over. Her fingers were like musical pistons, turned out
driving the car of musical symphony. Yeah. We love it. That's what you come here for.
That's just like it reminds me so much of like Garth Marenghi. Those like sort of like ill-conceived metaphors and overly flowery language. I think it's just so funny, especially if you deliver
the self-important kind. Yeah, if you deliver it that way. Yeah, I already closed the file, but if I were to read it again, I would read it in the voice, the way she played it was with musical pistons on the driving the symphony car of the orchestra, and like my buddy always said, the musical pistons were the best part.
I love that he sounds like Jason Statham. I'm pretty sure every single time I come on this podcast, I talk about Garth Marenghi, but
we can't talk about it enough, to be frank.
I think it's genius, and I also think that it does almost everything that bad horror does perfectly, and so
that's why it belongs on this show. I would almost want to do like a Twitch live watch of that with anyone who's interested, just to.
I love that
just to do like a fucking 6-hour thing where I sit down and watch it with anyone one day online. Which I could do, because I own all of it.
I'd be down to watch the first episode any single day.
The first episode's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely.
It's
And when we last talked about it, you all right? Yeah.
I think I'm gonna die. It's just such a funny line.
When we last talked about it, I brought up Danger 5. Had you seen Danger 5?
Oh, let me write it down, because I've not seen it.
Danger 5 is fantastic. You need only watch like a trailer for Danger 5, and you're gonna pick up the same vibes of Garth Marenghi. I want to say Australian TV show.
That is what it says.
Aping
Season 1, Episode 1. I danced for Hitler. So we're off to a strong start.
Yeah, this is the one. I don't know if I've mentioned it to you specifically. I probably did, but it's the one where Hitler gets away every episode by jumping through the same window shot. The same shot is just repeated.
Hitler gets away every episode?
Yeah, it's basically Team America World Police, but it's different. It's like Captain Planet. There's like a team of people from all over the world, and they're trying to stop Hitler. And every episode, Hitler gets away, but it's the same jumping through window shot, because the implication is that they can only afford to do it once.
Right.
And so they just repeat. It's like they're literally in a desert one episode, and they're about to shoot Hitler, and he runs, and then they cut to the jumping through the window shot, and like they're out in a desert. There is no window. Like even the characters are confused about where the jump through window shot came from. It's very good. That's all I'm saying.
I'm all over this. This sounds really funny.
Yes. Danger 5, I would say Danger 5 and like Mighty Boosh are probably the two closest things to Garth Marenghi.
Like Channel 4 limited run comedy series. They're Very, very good.
Yes. Just shout out for everyone who wants to watch something deeply hilarious to very satisfying degrees. Much like how we got enjoyment out of reading Anna's Gift, more specifically.
Much like it. I'm going to be thinking about it for a while. So yeah, no, Anna's Gift, it's going up there with the greats. It's
you're gonna think about it for at least a couple weeks.
Pops out of the smoke and
yes,
you.
Yes, that was also the best one from Happy Halloween, Danny. There was like a music box in a museum. Yes. In a museum that when turned, the museum people on the camera saw a clown jump out and scare a security guard and then dance on his body. Mm-hmm. Very good.
He pops smoke first. I think it's great. I think it's very funny.
Smoke bug. Oh man, I need to ask, any closing comments, any messages you want to leave the listeners with today?
I think anything the listeners need to know, they already know deep in their hearts, and what they need to do is look inward. I think that's always going to be my advice.
This is the first time you've said it, so
it's always been my advice, and I've always said it. So
you're going to stand by that. Okay, you doubled down. That's fine. That's fine. I think my advice this episode is to double down on things you've never done before.
Hell yes, that's the way to do it. Do not let them know you're wrong.
Oh, yeah.
No one's going to check.
Go to the grave with your best intent,
Absolutely.
Put your heart into everything you do, just like Anna did.
Yeah, well, and she got great results. That's what I'll say. 99%.
I mean, she accomplished what she set out to do, so you can't say she didn't.
Yep. Most weapons are not that effective.
She's almost had 2 books based off of what she did.
A limited run TV series, docu-series.
Coming soon on HBO Max.
Okay. Yeah, I know you're right.
Anna's Gift.
Yeah, so I think those are both good pieces of advice. Look inside you, and then double down on whatever's in there.
The bad. Mostly the bad.
Yeah, find the worst part of you, and then really, really make that your central, part of your personality.
And after you've done that, immediately put pen to paper and write whatever fucking dog shit you're thinking about.
Oh, yes, hell yeah. And then send it directly to me or deliver it to me on my
I was going to say, then tell Danny. Because then Danny will send it to us.
Yes,
I want him to be, honestly, I want him to be the messenger.
Yeah, he's got to put his stamp on it.
He's like the 5th horseman. He's the horseman of really great stories. That's the one Jesus was afraid to tell you about.
Yeah, the 5 horsemen you meet when you die.
Because Jesus wrote the Bible, right?
Most of it, I think. I don't know, man. I'm not an expert, but I'm pretty sure that's how it went. I didn't look in the back. I love spreading the idea that Jesus is the author of the Bible when he absolutely was not the case. What do you mean, man? Doesn't it start out with "Call me Jesus"?
That's right.
Before the mass, a simple sailor.
It does start that way. Now that you mention it. Oh fuck.